Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of TA and Chill. Today I'm going to take a look at BlackBerry, everyone's favourite smartphone maker from 2008, meme stock extraordinaire. And if you like the content, drop a like. If you don't, drop a dislike, let me know. Um, so let's get into it. So my analysis is primarily concerned with understanding the context of the trend and where we are currently within that broader trend. So a good place to start with that would be to drop on some moving averages here. So let's start with the 50 and the 200 here. Is that the 50 and 200? Yes, it is. Simple moving averages. So we'll start on the daily time frame, and let's have a quick a quick cover of where we've been since sort of November, December 2020. So November 2020, we broke above the 50 and the 200 here, and we had this um, fairly parabolic run to, pardon me, to 28 to $28 here. Came down again and broke the 50. Came down, retested the 200 moving average, recovered that, came up through the 50 again, repeated the same pattern a second time there. And then in September 2021, we broke through both of those important supports um, to a low of 930 in October. Then we've recovered that and then kind of lost it again most recently. So I like to treat the 200 moving average as a pretty good indicator of whether we're in a, you can really say that we're in a bull trend or not. And at the moment, given that we're underneath those, the longer and the shorter moving averages there, it means that we do have some significant resistance overhead. So let's take those off and we'll put on the good old Space Invader candles like this, and we'll draw on some lines of support and resistance. So let's change this to horizontal line. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And that should do. We use Heikin-Ashi candles just to make things look a little bit neater there. Let's take that off. So these are the key support levels here. As you can see, we're below 1138 there, but above the next major support at 948. So in terms of the technical indicators here on the daily, we're below 50 on the RSI, so the bears are kind of more in control than the bulls right now. ADX is quite low, touching 23. ADX is the average directional strength of DI plus, which is in the lime coloured line here, and DI minus, which is the negative trend here. So I think you could say right now that we're not really in a distinct trend one way or the other on the daily chart necessarily. Perhaps Ichimoku will have some more insights onto that, but the trend overall is about to sort of be officially invalidated at 23.6 here on the ADX, and you can see that there was a negative cross on when would that be? November the 19th here. So we've been trending downwards since then. And hopefully the RSI will get some support at 35, so we don't enter into the bearish control zone. So let's we'll remove these. Let's put on some Ichimoku to get a more detailed picture. So while we're here, looking at the volume is extremely low on BlackBerry. So take some of the more volatile moves with a pinch of salt. If they're not supported by the volume, then you can't always take them seriously, especially breakouts. So we just hide that for a moment. Yeah, let's look at Ichimoku here, see what's going on. So this is on the daily chart, and we had what appears to be, I'll just hide price action for a moment there, we had a death cross on November the 17th there, where the Tenkan Sen, or the, I believe it's the 9 period median, not moving, the median average, crossed over the 26 period median average, the Kijun Sen here. And you can consider them as short-term support in blue there and longer-term or medium-term support in red here. And price has obviously moved down since then and broken through the clouds. The bottom of the cloud here, or this is at Senku Span B, which should act as the strongest level of support here at 1054, but we've broken through that now. And price action, go back to regular candles. Yeah, some doji candles down here, so pretty indicative of indecision in the trend overall right now. The one positive thing you can say is that there is some hope currently that the trend could flip positive again with the green positive Kumo forward cloud here. So the trend could switch up at short notice there. So if we take a closer look at the morphology of the clouds, we see that we've had a long period between August and on October here of very heavy overhead resistance there. After breaking these supports earlier in the year, and then once we broke those supports, passed through the cloud here, you'll see how almost looks like a lightning bolt there. It's a very thin cloud. That's the two Senko Span A and Senko Span B flipping over there. We passed through that, and yeah, it does mean that there's I mean, we've kind of held up decently above this 946 level, and then did we have a golden cross there? If I remove price action, you can probably see that. Yes, we did. So if I just draw that on for you here, it's not very obvious on the daily chart. You'd see it a little bit more easily on the 4 hour there. But he did have a golden cross, although it was beneath the clouds here, which does weaken it as a buy signal. The buy signal would only be validated once price action had actually broken through the clouds here. And if you wanted additional validation on top of that, you could have looked at this green line here, which is called the Chico span, or the lagging span in English. And I'll just show you what Ichimoku looks like without that there for a moment. So it looks a little bit cleaner and simpler here. You just got the short-term support or resistance, medium, and then longer on the top and bottom of the clouds here. But there is a bit of a wild card, and that's the lagging span. In fact, I'll just turn off the others so that you can see it a little bit better here. Baseline lagging span. I'll make that a little bit thicker as well. Perfect. So the lagging span is really there to keep you safe, essentially, and to stop you from getting involved in failed breakouts. So what happened here was that even though there was a golden cross, and I'll turn the baseline and Tenkan Sen back on so you can see just those. So even though there was a positive cross here, and I should also add that lagging span is simply price action shifted 26 periods backwards, and that's to help illustrate that price action does have a memory, or at least it bears the memories of the traders who are trading the asset. So you did have a golden cross here. It did move above the clouds, but you did not get that final validation of the lagging span moving up through here and out of the cloud and into this kind of clear clear blue skies area there. So the lagging span would have told you that this breakout was really not to be trusted. And sure enough, it wasn't to be trusted because then you proceeded to have a death cross and you passed below the clouds again there. So that's Ichimoku on the daily time frame. Let's zoom in a little bit. We'll look at the 4 hour and see if the situation is any different there on the indicators. So there's a little bit of an upward slope, a little bit of an upward slope on price action on the 4 hour. Um, let's look at the ADX and DMI. Very weak trend. DI negative is increasing, so the bears are kind of in control again here. It's above 23, which is negative, and you're kind of hoping that RSI doesn't sink further into the bearish control zone. And the story on Ichimoku is pretty similar to the higher time frame there. So let's try something slightly different. I should also point out that you may not have noticed this, but um, you know, little reverse head and shoulder, little head and shoulders top there. So that breaking the neckline there was probably a pretty good indication that people were going to get out of that at 1070 there. So we just move that for a moment. Let's have a look at some. This is a perhaps um, optimistic. What we could hope for is that this is a linear regression channel, and um, if we are at the bottom of this channel, then you can kind of expect to. Let's try it with the Elliott impulse indicator. So something optimistically you could expect something like that to continue, because that's indicative of. I mean, if we look at Ichimoku and these other indicators, um, we're not really in a strong trend one way or the other. So I would kind of describe this as choppy sideways movement. And some people like choppy sideways movement. It can be quite predictable, um, but I certainly wouldn't be relying on a huge breakout one way or the other at the moment. And horizontal support is obviously more important than diagonal support. So it wouldn't surprise me if BlackBerry did continue moving down to what 950 there. Let's slap on some Fibonacci and see what he has to say. So in good old Fibonacci terms, you had the bottom down here at 908, 909, went up to 1241, didn't push on any further, went down to the golden pocket here between the 618 and the 615, didn't manage to hold that, and continuing to push down further. So if you don't know very much about Fibonacci, you can just imagine these. I mean, it does kind of match up with the linear regression channel somewhat. I mean, you could break out of that channel as well and go down further. I'd be inclined to put more weight on Fibonacci than linear regression there. So yeah, if it doesn't break back into the 618 and 65 here, then um, you can probably expect to move lower there. So let's remove Fibonacci, and I can look at just one more indicator here. It's the Trend Extractor, which is a nice Laguerre based average averaging indicator, and I like to use that with in conjunction with DMI. So on the 4 hour here, you can see that we had this negative cross on November 12th, pretty close to the neckline of this head and shoulders. This indicator actually may have warned you that something was going bad earlier, because you could see that the positive trend was weakening, and that was crossing over the neutral zero line on Trend Extractor here, and obviously losing 50 on the RSI was a fairly bearish indicator overall there. I'll just have one more quick look down on the 1 hour chart and see if anything's changing. Yeah, so setting some higher lows on RSI here. Is this divergent? Let's put on high Kanashi so I can see it. So a little bit of bullish divergence down here. If you see that price action is making lower lows there and RSI is making higher lows here, that's bullish divergence. Does that extend to the higher time frames and the broader context of the trend? Just remove that. Snap on another trend line here. So let's draw it from a little bit further back down here. So yeah, nothing too special going on there. I mean, price is making a higher high there, but RSI is not making a higher high, so that's kind of bearish, slightly bearish divergence going on there, and also Trend Extractors passing over negative here. So yeah, overall, not in a particularly strong trend. Maybe if we go down to the really low time frames, we'll see something positive. 30 minutes. Oh yeah, okay, there was a DMI flash on the 15 minutes here. The flash emerges when ADX is extremely low, below 12 or 13, depending on how you want to set it. And check out Rocky Outcrop's channel if you haven't. His indicators are amazing, and I've learnt so much from him. And trade spotting as well. So potentially Trend Extractor crossing across back to neutral there. But yeah, overall quite a weak trend. And I have to be. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm always going to be very, very direct about exactly what I look at, and people may not like that. But I do not trade in social media hype, Reddit posts, or anything like that. My promise to anybody who views my videos will be that I will only tell you the truth as I see it, and without any sugarcoating one way or the other. We're just going to be completely unbiased and neutral about what we see. So yeah, overall, in a nutshell, above some areas of support, quite a lot of resistance overhead. There is a little bit of a diagonal trend line pushing up here, but you really don't want to push any lower than this, and you'd hope that this was a low and that we do not push lower into the bearish control zone on the RSI. So yeah, if I was looking to buy it, and never financial advice, but obviously always buy at support and never buy at resistance. Don't FOMO in at the top. At 11, try and find some level of support down here, and do your TA, do your own research, and the best of luck to everybody. So thank you very much for watching my video. I'm keen to hear all your feedback, and if you have any suggestions for additional stocks, cryptos that you'd like me to take a look at, I'd be more than happy to do that. Just drop me a line on Twitter, and you can also join us on the Discord, and I've left a link in the description below. Take it easy, guys.